Hey guys, it's Chris. The Sahara Desert is the third largest desert in the world, and researchers are constantly learning new things about it. From lost civilizations found to desert glass that came from space, here are 8 secrets of the Sahara Desert. Number 8. It was once an oasis. Around 11,000 years ago, the northern strip of Africa that's now occupied by the Sahara Desert received lots of rain. It was full of vegetation and water, including forests, lakes, grasslands, and an extensive network of rivers. This region has always experienced bouts of aridity and humidity, which are influenced by slight changes in the tilt of the Earth's orbital axis. Between 8,000 and 4,500 years ago, however, certain areas transitioned from humid to dry faster than could be explained by these small wobbles, and the Sahara Desert as we know it today was formed. In an effort to find out why, archaeologist David Wright examined archaeological and environmental data and noticed a pattern. Pastoral humans and their animals significantly changed the plant life wherever they went. In a March 2007 interview with Smithsonian Magazine, Wright explained that an arid period may have been triggered earlier and faster than usual by the overgrazing of the Saharan grasslands. On the other hand, geologist Jessica Tierney, an associate professor of geoscience at the University of Arizona, stated that the lush green Sahara would have become a desert with or without human activity, because the transition is a natural part of how the Earth's orbit works. She also said that the abruptness of the change may not have had anything to do with humans either, but that the transition naturally accelerates after reaching a certain tipping point. Tierney explained that while the overgrazing of grasslands is one possible explanation for the formation of the desert, humans may have gone from being hunter-gatherers to domesticating animals as a result of more arid climate. One thing Tierney and Wright agree on, though, is that much more research is needed to get to the bottom of this chicken-and-the-egg problem. Number 7. Mysterious stone structures. Archaeologists recently spent several years studying hundreds of stone objects found in the Western Sahara territory. These stones are estimated to be thousands of years old, and people used to make little figures and structures out of them. The Western Sahara is an extremely remote place on Earth. 75% is controlled by Morocco, and the other 25% is controlled by the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. It has a long history of conflict, so there have been very few excavations or research. The archaeologists are unsure of when many of the structures were built and what they were used for. They exist in a variety of shapes, including rectangular, circular, and crescent-shaped, and they were constructed in various ways, including the use of platforms and piles of rocks. Altogether, they form a complex 63 meters long. They were able to study the region via satellite and finally on the ground from 2002 to 2009. Very little excavation has been carried out, and few artifacts can be radiocarbon dated. The archaeologists believe that some of the structures mark graves, especially since 2 of the handful of excavated sites contained 1,500-year-old human remains. International conflicts continue to put the safety of scientists at risk for now, so further research remains on hold indefinitely. And now for number 6, but first be sure to subscribe to World List to learn more about what's going on in the world. Number 6. The Eye of the Sahara. The Eye of the Sahara, also known as the Richat structure, is a 25-mile-long geographic formation that looks like a bullseye and can only be noticed from a bird's-eye view. It's located in the Mauritania in the Western Sahara Desert. The structure was first discovered by the world during the Gemini 4 space mission in 1965. Astronauts were asked to photograph the Earth's terrain during their 4-day orbit around it, and to look out for any large circular features which might be the roots of impact structures. Scientists mistook the Eye of the Sahara for an impact crater for a while, but couldn't find enough melted rock for their theory to be plausible. The eroded remains of what was once a dome of layers of the Earth's crust form an outer ring of the formation. 2 Canadian geologists believe the structure began forming 100 million years ago, as plate tectonics tore the supercontinent of Pangaea apart, and modern-day South America and Africa were ripping away from each other. In the meantime, the dome of rock layers was formed by molten rock that bubbled towards the surface, but didn't break through the surface, causing the ground to swell up like a pimple. And then the bubble burst, creating the structure we now know as the Eye of the Sahara, and a erosion did the rest of the work. Contrary to popular belief, this is not a lost, unexplored place. Geologists and tourists go here all the time to study the place in person, and you can apparently also take a balloon ride to get a bird's eye view of the place. How cool is that? Number 5. Cosmic glass. Earlier this year, scientists published a study about the origins of the Libyan desert glass, a naturally occurring canary yellow material that's been prized for its beauty for over 3,000 years. Libyan desert glass is made of the purest silica ever found on Earth. It formed around 29 million years ago as the result of some type of event involving temperatures above 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit. The scientists learned through chemical analysis of the glass that it was produced by an ancient meteorite impact. By examining the arrangement of the tiny grains and traces of zircon that are present in the glass, they discovered evidence of something called rhyodite having also once been present. Rhyodite is a rare mineral made of zircon that becomes unstable and crystallizes back into zircon at high temperatures. The crystal orientations in the reverted zircon are what bear evidence of the former presence of rhyodite, which is only present in the event of a meteorite impact. Throughout eastern Libya and western Egypt, the desert is thought to contain over 1,000 tons of Libyan glass, mostly in the form of small pebbles. There are only a few larger pieces, with the biggest one ever found weighing 57.3 pounds. Number 4. An ancient megalake. As technology continues to improve, researchers are learning more about the ancient structures and formations that lie beneath the Earth's surface. In 2010, scientists discovered evidence of a prehistoric megalake in the Eastern Sahara. It was formed around 250,000 years ago when the Nile River pushed through a low channel and flooded the region. At its biggest, the lake covered around 42,000 square miles. A profile of the megalake was put together by National Air and Space Museum geologist Ted Maxwell and his colleagues, who discovered the lake while analyzing radar data taken during the Space Shuttle radar topography mission. Evidence of Paleolithic human settlements near where the lake would have been further point to its existence, since living near the water would have been a desirable arrangement. Across North Africa, evidence of early and middle Pleistocene lakes is growing, and learning about them could help experts understand the migration patterns of early humans. Number 3. Thriving civilizations. In 2011, satellite images revealed the ruins of a long-lost civilization that existed before and during the Roman era in the Sahara Desert. In areas where there appears to be nothing but desert, the images showed that extensive development once existed. The Garamantes civilization that occupied the region around 1000 BC was highly advanced, despite Roman descriptions of them as uncouth and kind of barbaric. David Mattingly, professor of Roman archaeology at Leicester University, stated at the time of the discovery that the Garamantes were highly civilized, living in large-scale fortified settlements. It was an organized state with towns and villages, a written language, and state-of-the-art technologies. The Garamantes were pioneers in establishing oases and opening up trans-Saharan trade. The tribe declined around 700 AD, possibly because they'd exhausted the local groundwater supply. At the time the pictures were taken, this area of the desert had been under the control of Libyan dictator Colonel Muammar Gaddafi for many years. And Gaddafi wasn't interested in the study of Libya's pre-Islamic past and made it very difficult for researchers to gain access to these sites for further exploration. Additionally, the inhospitable climate of the Sahara makes fieldwork very difficult to carry out. Number 2. It's expanding. With an area of 3.6 million square miles, the Sahara Desert is roughly the size of the United States, and it's getting bigger. Over the past century, it's grown by about 10%, and scientists believe this may be partially due to climate change. The deserts are growing and the forests are shrinking. In a 2018 study authored by Natalie Thomas, a doctoral candidate in atmospheric and oceanic science at the University of Maryland, researchers analyzed rainwater and weather change data from across the desert dating back to the 1920s. They learned that the desert expansion and reduced rainfall may be driven by some natural cycles, but that human-driven climate change undoubtedly plays a role as well. Climate cycles driven by anomalies in ocean surface temperatures affect precipitation and surface temperatures in land. The study revealed that these effects can last for decades. The Sahara Desert is expected to continue expanding, as evidenced by its consistent growth. Despite the natural expansion and contraction of its boundaries seasonally, food becomes harder or impossible to grow when soil is too dry, and the growth of the Sahara Desert could come with far-reaching consequences to humans, including an increased risk of drought and famine. Number 1. The Lake of GAFSA. In July 2014, a shepherd discovered a lake in the desert, about 15.5 miles from the Tunisian town of GAFSA, and that was somewhere there shouldn't be a lake. The 2.6-acre body of water measured 59 feet deep and was named Lac de GAFSA. Given the scorching 104-degree Fahrenheit temperatures at the time, people cared less about how the mysterious lake came to be than the fact that it was there at all. Those hoping to catch a break from the heat flocked to the lake, ignoring official warnings from GAFSA's Office of Public Safety not to swim in the water in case it was radioactive or contaminated with carcinogens or even infested with disease. In the absence of an official swimming ban, people continued arriving at the beach by the hundreds, even after the water turned from a clear turquoise to a murky greenish blue. The sudden appearance of the lake was probably the result of a minor earthquake rupturing the rock above the water table and causing the water to rush to the surface. However, the scientific community hasn't declared with certainty how Lac de GAFSA was created. Well, that's all for now. If you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up so we know to make more videos like these. Also, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on World List.